Good evening, Kansas City. Thank you for tuning in to our second virtual concert. My name is Paul Gutierrez, Director of Programs and Events for the Kansas City Museum. A quick update on the museum. Our staff and leadership are working really hard to reopen the museum this fall as the new Museum of Kansas City History and Cultural Heritage. In the meantime, we'll continue with these virtual programs. And my goal this summer is to bring back our outdoor safe distance summer concerts on the lawn, along with other programs and events. Tonight, I'm really excited to introduce you to our musician who is coming in live from Brooklyn, Carlos Pavan. Hola, Carlos. Hi, Carlos.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this guitar recital. Are we ready to rock?
Yeah, if you want to give a quick introduction to people who might not know you, and then you get the show started.
My friends from Kansas, welcome to this guitar recital, traditional and contemporary music from Argentina. Yes, I'm in Brooklyn, and to begin, I prepared for you a traditional milonga from the 60s, from the good old days, by Maestro Atahualpa Yupanqui. That is an indigenous name who means what that means. The ones who comes from far away to say something.
Take
Thank you, my friends from Kansas, Kansas City. Oh, yes. Gracias. To continue, I prepared for you one of my favorite music styles, which is folklore from the north of Argentina, because my family, my mother, she's from the north. Yes? So I used to go every summer to see my cousins and hear this amazing folklore, which is a combination of Chile, Peru, Bolivia, Uruguay, Paraguay, all the neighbor, let's say, countries from right next to Argentina. So in the north, they created this amazing folklore mixing all the cultures, yes, and also a little bit of European and Afro-Cuban, Afro-Candombe, Uruguayan. Yes, this is a little dance, means bailecito, little dance, from Maestro Ayala from the 70s. This piece was very short, very beautiful. So I took some liberties to expand it and to share it with my new friends from Kansas. Yes? Little little dance, bailecito, folklore. Hey, 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 hey. Thank you, my friends. I hope you're clapping. Yes. Number three. Our next piece is a lullaby, a prelude and tremolo using some influences from classical guitar and a special technique called the tremolo, which you have to play very fast, the same note with different fingers. Yeah, today is very humid here in Brooklyn, but I'll try my best. Yes, and this is a lullaby I composed and recorded in my second CD for my nephew when he was born a few years ago. Yes, And now I would like to share it with my new friends in Kansas. Lullaby, Prelude and Tremolo. Gracias. Thank you very much. Gracias, as we say in Argentina. I have to keep my Spanish alive. Yes? It's been 20 years living in New York, in Brooklyn. Living, as we say in Argentina, surviving New York. My friends, now I have prepared for you two short waltzes. Yeah, another important style that we have in South America, and I would like to explain how we cut the waltzes. There are two types. The European waltz, especially Italian and French, we could say they went to, in our case, to the tango family, which I'll be playing later. And to the folklore family, we have the influences of the Peruvian waltz, the one and only, the Afro-Peruvian waltz, one of the best, because the the amazing rhythms they play, syncopated, tricky rhythms, amazing Afro-Peruvian waltz. So that went to the folklore family, and the European to the tango. Yeah, and my waltzes are in between, let's say. Number one is a farewell waltz, a little bit sad, but it's El Último Adiós, The Last Goodbye. Is a waltz from my first CD that I recorded here in about 10 years ago. And it's for my godmother, who was a very special woman. Yes? The Last Goodbye. Thank you, Gunnar. Polite. My friends, now it's time for the spring waltz, and you will notice the influences of jazz music. Yes? I studied jazz for 10 years when I was a teenager, a long time ago. And I still use some of the jazz harmony for the improvisation, the freedom in the harmony. Yes? And I study a lot back in the day. The one and only Coltrane, Miles Davis, Charlie Parker from Kansas. Right. Yes, sir. Charlie Parker from Kansas. Unbelievable. And Thelonious Monk, Charlie Mingus, the great jazz players. So I use some of the harmony that you will notice in my pieces. And this is a spring waltz that I composed a few winters ago, which was very tough here in Brooklyn. I used to live close to the park, and it was so cold. And I said, wow, man. So I wrote myself a waltz to make me feel better. And eventually, spring came. And this is for my friends in Kansas, the land of Charlie Parker. Why not? Yes. Here we go. Spring waltz. Thank you, my friends. I hope you're clapping. Is Jessica clapping? Gracias. Now, my good friends from Kansas, it's tango time. Why not? Oh, yes. My father was a tango man. And like all tango men, they leave early. Three of the most traditional tangos I prepared for you. You will recognize the melodies. Yes? The first one is El Choclo, the corn. Very strange name for a tango. And you might remember the, the one and only Louis Armstrong used to record a jazzy version of El Choclo under the name of Kiss of Fire. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a tango, but it has the jazzy feeling. And number two is Por una cabeza by Carlos Gardel, who was a famous singer, songwriter, actor who came to do a few movies here for Paramount. And then he took the plane and became a legend. He died in a plane crash, very young. This was 1935. I remember I was very little, like this. And also you might remember the melody from Scent of a Woman, the movie with Al Pacino. Yes, when they dance. And number three is La Comparsita, perhaps the most famous tango from Uruguay originally. And I'm going to dedicate these three tangos for my new friends, Mr. Paul and Miss Ruby. Yes? Gracias. Thank you. Gracias. Mr. Polite. Gracias. My friends, to continue, I prepared for you three short milongas um, inspired in by famous books surrounded around the gaucho theme, which is gaucho we have in Argentina and Uruguay and the south of Brazil. They are like peasants, like farmers, and they do hard work and they play, we call it Spanish guitar. They play folklore and they dance, yeah? So you can see them outside the big cities. And these books, one of my favorite books. The first one by one. The first one is called Dust and Fear, amazing book. And this is a milonga that I composed using. I always read that book like once a year. I go back and I read it again to get that extra love, information, culture, background. Um, and I would like to share it with you, my friends. This is a traditional milonga with a tiny bit of some of my jazz influence, just a little bit. Yeah, inspired by the famous book by the writer was Abelardo Arias. He won some prizes in the 60s with this book. I'm not exactly sure if it's been translated to English, but I will try my best. Thank you. To continue, two short milongas. Thank you, Jessica. Inspired by Borges, the one and only, perhaps the most famous internationally writer from Argentina, Jorge Luis Borges, unique, a unique source, a fountain of culture. Yes, and these two short milongas with a traditional feel are from inspired by the famous book Fictions. That book, I have it in English and Spanish both, so you can find it everywhere because it's very famous. The the Fictions is from 1942 by Maestro Borges, and this is okay. This is the first story in the book. The first milonga is about a librarian who finds. I will tell you just a little bit so you can read it, and I don't want to tell you the ending. Yeah. So the librarian, the character in the short story, he finds this amazing old book, and he rushes home to read it, and then rushing, he has an accident. After the accident, he ended up going to the south, Patagonia, big spaces, kind of cold, desolated, that kind of place. And then something else happens. Okay? So I'm not telling you the end, but you have to read it. That story is called The South, El Sur. Yes? And I'm using especially a unique rhythm from Patagonia, which is called estilo. It's like a milonga inside of a waltz. So it has 3 beats. Yes? Here we go. El Sur. Da, da, da. Thank you, my friends from Kansas. Now, our second Borges inspired piece is a very fun story in the book Fictions. As a young man, he travels for vacation to Uruguay, and um, in going to the estancia, like a summer house, something like that, where very gaucho style, very traditional, he meets a very strange character, yeah, who always knows what time is it. This is before watches, before anything, 100 years ago, more. So after a few summers, he returns to Uruguay and he asks around what happened to that strange guy, the one who always knows what time is it. And they say, oh, that guy had an accident. He fell down off a horse and he lost his memory. And looks like when he recovered it, his memory was triplified. Amazing. Yeah. And so, and that's, I don't want to tell you the ending, but it's amazing. I hope you can read it. This, the name of the story, same book, Fictions. The name of the story is Funes, is a last name. Funes el Memorioso, the memorous, with a great memory. Yeah. And you will notice that because the story, Borges is Argentine, but he goes to Uruguay, I'm using two rhythms, half from Uruguay and half from candombe from Uruguay and milonga from Argentina, half and a half, yeah, like in the book. And this is, I'm now using a special word, ditirambo. Ditirambo, it's a very old slang that people from Uruguay, gauchos, they used to talk between themselves. So nobody else will understand. Something like that. Yes? Here we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. My friends, we have come to the end of our journey. Yes? And this is the last piece I'm going to play, but I've saved the best for last. This is a traditional, one of my favorite, malambo. Malambo is a unique folklore rhythm from the north, Unique because it's the only one than the dancer, the gaucho, he dances alone, showing off to the lady. Yes? Usually in folklore, they dance as a couple. But in the malambo, is the only one. He has a fast rhythm. Usually, a guitarist in the background is doing this. Chen, chen, chen. Yeah? With variations. And then the gaucho showing off, dancing with his boots, these amazing syncopated rhythms. And it's a very upbeat folklore style. Usually, maybe you can see it in the summer festivals. Yes? And this is a piece by Maestro Ayala, who was a tango orchestra musician and a classical guitarist and composer. He left some wonderful music, and some of his pieces are very short. So I took some liberties to expand it. Um, and I would like to thank all my new friends from Kansas City Museum, the land of Charlie Parker. Oh boy, amazing. I studied a lot of his music back in the day when I was a teenager in Argentina. I have this book with like 30 jazz songs by Charlie Parker. So difficult. In the guitar, it's very difficult because he was a saxophone player. But anyway, and my teacher gave me all this information. It was amazing when I was 15, 16. Wonderful. Um, so, my friends, thank you very much. Hopefully, we'll see each other again in person. And I would like to thank especially to Mr. Paul Gutierrez and Miss Ruby Montoya for helping me making all this possible. And of course, the Kansas City Museum. Yes? And just like the song says, we shall meet again some sunny day. Hey. Hi.
Carlos, thank you so much. Mil gracias for this virtual concert live from Brooklyn, New York. It was lovely to hear your story. Thank you for sharing that and being open
Hey.
to our audience.
Gracias. We had a grand. I felt very good. All besides this humidity terrible, I felt very good.
It sounded wonderful. So that's the goal with the museum being the new Museum of Kansas City History and Culture Heritage. Our goal is to show the multiple cultures that live here in Kansas
Right.
City, Missouri, that makes us such rich and fabric community. So thank you for sharing your story and thank you for sharing your music.
Thank you very much, and hopefully next time we'll meet in person.
hopefully. Have a good night, Carlos.
Gracias.
Gracias. And for everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and to everybody, especially Ruby from One Kansas City Radio, who helped us broadcast this virtual program. My name is Paul Gutierrez, Director of Programs and Events. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll continue with these virtual concerts in May. And if the weather warms up here in June and July and August, we'll offer outdoor, safe distance summer concerts. Once again, thank you for allowing us to be in your home tonight. Have a good weekend. And be safe. And as always, be kind to one another. Have a good night.